Hello America, and welcome to the O'Bobby Factor. I'm your host, Bill O'Bobby. Tonight on the show, we'll take a long, hard look at the current economic status of this great nation and figure out how to get us out of this quagmire of economic hardship that our great nation is caught in. And I can assure you, you won't see any fact-shifting here like you'll get from the liberal lamestream media. Here with us tonight is our panel for tonight's discussion. Head of the U.S. Census Bureau, Wilf Blitzer, and Senior Monetary Policy Advisor for the Federal Reserve, Sanderson Cooper. Now, Wilf, give me your expert opinion on the economy. Tell me what's up.
Well, you see, Bill, what we've got to be looking at right now is the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate edged down to just 7.7% in November. Since the beginning of this year, we've been experiencing employment growth, averaging 151,000 jobs per month, just slightly lower than what we saw in 2011.
That is a load of malarkey, and you know it. Why is unemployment still so high if we're supposedly in a recovery? Obama blew it! Admit it!
Now, Bill, you have to understand that even though the recession is over, suppliers are still wary of market conditions and may not regain their confidence for some time. This is going to slow down the rate at which jobs are created.
Well, that's your opinion. Check the facts. Now, moving on. Sanderson, what is your take on this situation? What do you believe are the important indicators to watch?
If you ask me, the most important factor you have to consider is the inflation rate. Over the past year, our headline inflation rate has been 2.2%. Our core inflation rate has been just slightly below that at 2% from October 2011 to 2012. Now, this is good news. This level of inflation is consistent with the Fed's goal of 2%.
What is all this supposed to mean? Tell me, Mr. Sanderson, why should I care about this inflation?
Well, Mr. O'Bobby, a high CPI can erode the value of dollar-based investments held by foreigners. Unexpected fluctuations in CPI can cripple the stock and bond markets. In contrast, if inflation is quiescent, it'll keep interest rates from rising and buoy stock prices. If you look at this graph right here, you can see that prior to the financial collapse of 2007, CPI was relatively stable. And following the collapse, it became highly sporadic. You can also see that recently it's become much more stable. The fluctuations are becoming smaller, and this is very good for the U.S. financial investments.
All right, whatever you say. I, for one, am not sure that inflation even exists. With us now to discuss more economic matters is expert economist Brian Williams-Elmer. Brian, come on out. Brian, how are you?
Fantastic, Bill. Never felt better. Now let's get down to brass tacks. There are a few points I'd like to address. Let's talk about my personal favorite economic indicator, non-farm payrolls. Now, non-farm payroll employment has increased by 146,000 over the past month, and...
Now, Brian, I'm going to have to cut you off right there. You're talking an awful lot of baloney over there. Now, even though non-farm payroll employment has gone up, the pay rates have actually gone down by 0.5% since last year. You can't argue that this is a good sign for our economy, can you?
Heyo, the sparks are flying.
Hold on now, hold on. There's overwhelming evidence that non-farm payroll rates are not a good measure of our economic well-being.
Whoa, hold on, Brian. Didn't you just say that the non-farm payroll was your favorite economic indicator? Sounds like you're doing an awful lot of flip-flopping.
Well, you have to consider,
You're really starting to piss me off, Mr. Elmer. You know what? Cut his mic! Cut his mic! Okay, now that rabble-rouser's out of the way, Wilf, what are your thoughts on this matter? Are there any other things we should look at when analyzing this here economy?
Well, one of the most important elements to consider is GDP. Real GDP is always a good measure of the overall productivity of our nation, and right now, our GDP is at 15.09 trillion. That's an increase at an annual rate of 1.3% in the second quarter of 2012, and 2.7% in the third quarter.
That's all well and good, Wilf, but what does this mean for the average American? What the heck should John Everyman care about real GDP?
Well, I'll tell you, Bill. Personal consumption has increased by 1 trillion in the last year, and expenditures on durable goods have increased by 20%. When Americans are buying more, that's good, and these stats tell us that American consumers are regaining their confidence and beginning to spend.
I hate to interrupt you, Wilf, but you're talking a bunch of bullshit. The GDP growth we've been experiencing is not high enough. It should be somewhere around 3% if we want to recover because...
But you have to consider that you...
Shut up for a second, will you? Now we have to increase our GDP by at least 4% per year. If it expands less than 4% on average, the economy will not grow fast enough to absorb all the laborers entering the workforce. And considering that we have just went through a major recession, our GDP growth should be even higher if we want to make up for all the lost jobs.
Hold on now, if we try to grow our GDP too fast, we're going to burn out and send ourselves right back into another recession.
How is he talking? Who the heck turned his mic back on?
Well, Bill, he does make a valid point. We've seen from historical evidence that too rapid of growth can lead to economic disaster. This is exactly what happened during the Great Depression and in nearly every economic collapse since. If we want to safely recover from this economic crisis, we need to be willing to grow our GDP at a rate somewhat slower than what we might want. If you'll take a look at this graph here, we can see that an average growth rate of 2% is sustainable for our country at this time. It would be foolish to attempt to grow at a rate much faster than this.
Exactly. We have to be careful not to expand too fast now that we're out of this recession. We need to ease our way back into a sustainable level of production.
You two are complete idiots. How can you say we need to slow down our GDP growth when China has been expanding exponentially faster than us for decades now?
You know, it's funny you should mention that, Sanderson. We actually have a field reporter over in China right now, and I'm getting word that we're receiving a news feed from him right this instant. So here, live from Beijing, China, is foreign correspondent Karnick. Connor, how are you doing over there in Beijing?
I'm doing great, Bill. However, I'm not in Beijing, China. I accidentally got on the wrong flight and ended up here in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. That must have negatively affected your reporting on the Chinese economic situation, didn't it?
Actually, no, Bill. With nothing more than a quick Google search, I was able to gather all the data I needed from my reporting piece.
That's fantastic, Connor. What did you find out?
Well, Bill, there's no doubt that China's economy is a big threat to America. Just look at this graph that I recovered from Google Images. Ever since China began market-based economic reforms in 1978, their economy has taken off. Their GDP as of 2005 was over 18.2 trillion yuan.
Connor, what's going on over there? Was that a gunshot?
Yes, it was, actually. Don't worry, Bill. I'll be fine. This kind of stuff happens all the time here in Detroit. Getting back to the point, China has been expanding at a rapid rate, but this expansion is not guaranteed to continue. Until they gained independence, China's GDP was next to nothing, and they were far behind the Western world. When they did begin expanding, China had a long way to go, and they still do.
Connor, the gunfire seems to be intensifying over there. What exactly is going on?
Don't worry about it, Bill. It's just a gang shootout. You get used to them after being here a few days. Anyways, right now we can assume that China is catching up to the leading economies of the world, and after they do finally catch up, their expansion will slow down. Oof! I'm hit! Oh man! Oh, let's see. Chances are that China will not rapidly overtake America, as many people expect they will. Rather, China will catch up to us and leave us out, or may shoot past us and continue expanding too fast, leading to a financial collapse. This is Karnick, live from Detroit, Michigan. Signing off. Back to you, Bill.
We seem to have lost video feed from Karnick. Let's hope he's okay. Anyways, I share Connor's opinion. China is not as big a threat as many think it is. The Asian tiger is just a mere kitten. Panel, feel free to chime in on this issue. What do y'all think?
I agree. We as a nation are worrying too much about China, and about what is happening in our country right now. What we need to focus on is the future, and what the economic indicators will mean for America in the coming years.
Wise words. Wise words indeed. Panel, what are your thoughts on this? What can we tell about the future of America from what we're seeing right now?
Well, unemployment claims have been down this month, below 375,000 first-time employment claims per week. This is indicative of a recovering economy.
But in October, consumption went down by more than 1%.
Yes, but in the aggregate, consumption has increased by over 4% in the last year.
Everyone take a chill pill! This is a no-shift zone, remember? You know what? Cut Brian's mic again. I've heard enough out of him. Now, I've heard enough out of you phonies. Right now, I'm going to hand it over to my favorite Obabi Factor investigative journalist. Joining us now to comment on this economic situation is economic investigator Farheev Zakaria. Farheev, come on out! How are you doing, Farheev?
Excellent, Bill, and you'll be glad to know that I've gotten quite a bit of data on what I think will happen to America in the years to come. In fact, I prepared a little presentation on this matter, right over here. Allow me to show you. You see here, the Fed is engaging in several different open market operations currently to try and bring us into a recovery and rejuvenate the economy. Their goal is to keep the federal funds rate low, between 0 and 1%, in order to increase the money supply and boost expansion. And they've maintained this goal over the past year, with the federal funds rate currently at 0.16%. I wholeheartedly agree with this action. Lowering the Fed funds rate is a proven way to bring the country out of a recession. However, the Fed, with their recent QE3 action, is taking this monetary policy way too far. Their action in buying $40 billion of mortgage-backed securities every month is probably going a little too far with their monetary action. Currently, with keeping the federal funds rate low and QE3, I think that's going to be too much for the economy, and it might send us spiraling into a second recession. What I propose is that we keep setting the federal funds rate low, while at the same time cutting off QE3. And in turn, we should be able to recover swiftly with all of the other economic indicators looking good for the economy. And with that, back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Farheed. Thank you. And now I'm going to bring it back to our panel for some final thoughts. Brian, I'm giving you your mic privileges back. Don't make me regret it.
Alright, I agree with Farheed. The Fed should continue their current actions of increasing the money supply. However...
Cut his mic! Alright, Wilf, your turn. What's up?
I agree. Keeping up some small expansionary monetary policy by lowering the federal funds rate is the best way to move our economy forward.
Excellent. And finally, Sanderson, what are your final thoughts?
I'm going to have to disagree. My co-panelist makes a valid point, but...
Listen, if I cared about your opinion, you'd be the one with the TV show. Alright everyone, that's all for The Factor. I'll see you next time. Until then, this is Bill LaBobby, signing off. Good night, and Godspeed. Cut the bullshit, America.